Yo, coming to you live from World Championship in San Jose. Welcome to the Living Legends podcast.
Just roll into it.
Let me make sure the audio's fine. Oh, the audio's fine. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, if we're recording, then might as well get started. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Living Legends podcast, your one-stop shop for everything related to the wild and crazy world of flesh and blood, the world of Wraith. I am the host for today. My name is Bill, and joining me, as always, are my two lovely co-hosts. We'll start off. I'm really digging alphabetical. It just makes sense. So we'll start off by kicking it over to Az. How you doing today, buddy?
Yeah, not bad. So I'm looking quite weathered today. So I've just been back from playing a bit of tennis today. So absolutely smashed my games, I might say. I didn't smash any flesh and blood, though, unfortunately. I think you were the only one who played a pre-release out of all of us. So at least we got some tales about that today.
Yeah.
Our second co-host, who is Kel, was not able to go to pre-release for Bright Lights either. So me, of all people, of the three of us on the Flesh and Blood podcast, on the Living Legends podcast, I was the only one to go to a pre-release, which just seems like a reversal of fate.
What's going on?
But yes, hello, Kel.
Hello. Yeah. I was not able to go to pre-release, but I think so I was at a different event that I had committed to months and months in advance before we even knew that Bright Lights was going to even be a thing. So it was a Grand Archive event, Ascent Houston. It was the first major event. I'm going to have a whole video about it, so I'm not really going to talk about it here, but long story short, very good. And actually better than that. I would say better than that because it gave me the same vibes that Flesh and Blood gave me when I went to their first big event here in the US, the Calling Vegas. Not quite as many people. They had a player cap of 240 and it capped. And there's a bunch of like side events and that kind of stuff. But it was great. But the funny thing is that the LGS that I normally go to wouldn't have had a Bright Lights pre-release this weekend anyway, because they are moving to a different location. So either way, I probably wasn't going to be going to a Bright Lights pre-release. So it's very good that Bill was able to get to one so we could properly talk about it.
Yeah. I unfortunately did not do well and ended up dropping after the first round, I think, maybe second
brutal.
round.
Brutal.
Yeah, I played the first round and just felt like I wasn't doing anything. I'm admittedly, for anybody who's been listening to us for any extended period of time, I've mentioned before, I am not a limited player. I am not great at draft. I'm a little bit better at sealed because I don't have to make the micro decisions, but it feels like lately the sets haven't really been designed for sealed. I think in general, if you're able to sort of pick and choose your playables a little bit better, like through draft, it might be a little bit more compelling. But again, like I'm not at all an authority on how draft environments or limited goes, but the set is still very cool. I ended up pulling pretty well I ended up getting 12 total packs because I also paid for Elliot's entry. And I got 4 Majestics, 2 of which were expansion slot, and cold foil common equipment, I think. One of the Evos. So yeah, I actually pulled like pretty good. Even with the one of the 2 expansion slot cards I got was DM Armada's the Intoxicating Shot, and it was foil.
Ooh,
so
nice.
We're balling currently.
Better build that Riptide deck then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh no, just give it to your buddy. Give it to the Riptide guy.
I did message him right away. I was like, hey, Mink, check it out.
He commented on one of the videos. I was like, shout out to the 10 Riptide players, and he was like, I'm one of the Riptide players. So shout out to Mink.
Yeah. He's always there. He's always lurking in the Riptide something, some type of
in the Riptide
illusion.
cult.
Lurking in the depths.
Lurking in the depths. Yeah, that one works better. But yeah, anyway, so like I went to try to pull some cards. I did pull some cool cards, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Nice.
The set, as I said, does seem pretty cool. I just didn't have like the most luck with it, which is fine. Yeah, all in all, the event that I went to as well ended up like selling completely out, which is something that I think a local Flesh and Blood event hasn't really done in a while.
Really?
Which is kind of nice. Yeah, like we have a really consistent like 12 people generally. And the cap for this one was 16, and it actually sold out. And then we had like 3 or 4 people that showed up afterwards, and there wasn't enough allotment for them. So unfortunate for them, but it is kind of nice to see, you know, some people that I haven't seen in a while, and some people that I hadn't seen at all previously. So
I was just about to say, like, is it the same faces or is there new faces? But there's new faces there as well, which is good.
Yeah, it was a lot of the same faces, and some people that have become regulars in the time between when I was like going regularly and now. There are a couple of new people that have been, as far as I know, going pretty frequently. But yeah, it was awesome to see. It was really, really nice. You know, it's good to see that the Flesh and Blood community is still just as solid as it ever was, at least locally.
Yeah. And the sealed format as well that Bright Lights is set in is, you said before the podcast, it's 4 packs rather than 6. Is that right?
Yeah. So normally for sealed it would be 6 packs, and they bumped it down to 4 packs, and I think it was a guaranteed 2 prize packs afterwards.
Right.
Okay.
And I think the reason that they did that was I think they were able to put a lower MSRP on it when the buy-in is actually only 4 packs. And you really only need the 4 packs anyway to build your deck, because realistically, like if you really needed to, you could play 100% of the cards that you pull.
Yeah, everything
from
in there.
Those 4 packs, because there's only one class to have to worry about. So, I mean, outside of expansion slot stuff or whatever. But yeah, so that was kind of nice. It was $30 all in. For the draft, and that was the 6 packs essentially, with the possibility of getting, there was like the full set of cold foil equipment, the like buy a box promos, I think. There was also like a full set of the rainbow foil heroes, and I think 2 mats that were available for like first and second, something like that.
Yeah, those mats were nice, weren't they? They were the like the Power Rangers style art, that one.
That's I think Iswardi. Shout out to Iswardi Therianto, yeah.
Shout out to Iswardi. I know that he's listened to our stuff in the past.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was really cool. I'm always excited for a new set. I'm like maybe a little bit more lukewarm on this one, just based on I'm not really a mechanologist player, but I was actually saying to Az a little bit ago that I am actually interested in putting together Max Nitro and Teklevossen. I have a suspicion that one of them will be better than the other one, but
the general sentiment that I've gotten from a lot of like more competitive minded players is that Teklevossen seems to be the initial hero out of the gates from here, at least for CC. I actually think Max could be really, really good in Blitz, but for CC I think it's Teklevossen. Yeah. He's got like these weird chain vibes going on where you just play your stuff from your banner zone.
But I was just going off the back of the Teklevossen, Teklo Daddy Dildo, whatever it is. I think that's one of those tweets did quite well actually this weekend. But me just taking the piss out of the archetype.
But you were 69-0, right? Or wait,
I was 89. I should have done 69.
So I was thinking of doing. I was thinking of doing like a quote for it, and mine was I was 420 and 69. It was just an absolute shit post. It was
Oh, absolutely. I love it. I absolutely love shit posting, especially when everyone's like, oh, yeah, this is the best meta deck for your sealed environment and all this. So my actual tweet was, I'll read it out because I absolutely loved it. 54 likes on this baby.
It's like that other meme. It's like, this one's a banger. This one's doing numbers.
This one's banger, pure numbers, quote, retweets and all this. I went 89-0 at my pre-releases release. Teklo Daddy Dildo Fatigue Aggro plan is the way forward to win worlds. Sideboarding in the shadow cards against the original Wraith heroes paid dividends. I will upload the CC deck tech behind a £100 paywall.
Oh yeah. Then I said, "Do you accept Teklo bucks?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I was like, "Nah, Teklo bucks, nah. Teklo Fs, absolutely."
And yeah, then I said, "I don't give any Teklo Fs."
Oh
that's
God.
good. It's a good tweet. The other people responding to it were also like pretty good. Yeah.
They just have to have fun, don't you? But that was the general vibe as well, coming out of the sealed environment. Is that Teklo Daddy blue block 3s? Just stack your deck with as many of those as possible, and just block and something about anything that attacks for 4. Chuck that in situation. But yeah, we saw that in Outsiders as well. Everyone was running. Well, not everybody. It's a generalized statement there, but a lot of people were running piles of cards and just doing the same sort of thing for sealed. I think maybe the draft experience is that's ultimately what it's designed for, the draft experience, which we have another story about today. Because you actually select the cards, whereas in sealed you just get given a bunch of cards and you just have to make it work. And in that sort of scenario, that's when you just pile up what you've got and try and do the value sort of adding up and subtracting and all this.
Have either of you played Crack Shuffle Play yet with highlights? So
I want to though.
I'm very, very looking forward to doing this. I tentatively have a stream planned this coming Saturday. The only person I have confirmed is Jim from FAB TCG Cards. Got to mention him at least once every episode. So he and I invited Dear Marmada. Obviously, LLP boys are invited too. But so basically my idea is I want to do, instead of like a stream where you just open up packs and have like your launch celebration stream cracking packs, I figured it'd be more fun to crack packs and then play with them. And so we'll do Crack Shuffle Play, like King of the Hill style thing. But even if you stay on, you still have to crack 3 new packs every round. So it's different every single time. And I'm hoping Crack Shuffle Play is a lot more fun than what sealed sounds like. I haven't played sealed yet, so I can't give my own personal opinions. But not knowing what the cards are, and this is another thing I want to say. When we do it, I want to make it so you don't look at the cards like at all. I think you just take the back 2 cards out, which are like the token and the equipment or whatever. Just take the back cards out. Don't look, and then shuffle them together, and then just go with that. And so you have no idea if you have a good fatigue pile or whatever. So it like forces you to actually, play.
Just play in the moment, because you don't know what your next hand's going to be. And I think that's also a very, very good point as well. Was the fact that you don't know what's happening. It allows you to play as I'm just repeating myself, in the moment, because you don't know what you're going to draw. It's like that. It's like Smash Up. Smash Up's like a board game where you just smash 2 decks together and see how it plays. And similar to that, Jumpstart as well. You just mash 2 decks together and see how they play.
My brother and I, when long time ago, but my brother and I used to play Pack Wars in Magic. And if you don't know what Pack Wars are, you just get a handful of lands. I was either 3 or 5 of each. I don't remember what it was. And then you literally open up a booster pack. Don't look at the pack. This is how we played it. Don't look at the pack, and you just shuffle it all in together, and that's it. You just play. And we would do ante, which was a lot of fun. So it's like winner gets the opponent's. So the way we did it is the winner gets to pick 1 card from the opponent's pack to keep, but the opponent has 1 veto. So if they got like a super bomb card, they can veto it. But if they got 2 bomb cards, if they got like a mythic and a foil rare or something like that, then you at least get one of them. So anyway, that's what we used to do, and I love those kind of things. It's just like pure distilled gameplay, which is just great.
I used to do something similar to that as well, where I used to crack some packs together, but then we used to play similar to how the Final Fantasy games, there's a card game in that called Triple Triad. Oh yeah. And as soon as you win the opponent's card, you can then use that card in your deck, perhaps. So we played similar to that as well. But yeah, I think it's just a good idea.
Those are, man, this is getting a little bit off the rails, but
it's all good.
LGSs can hold leagues, and I've played in some leagues where you do that, where everyone has like it's basically like a sealed league, and every time someone wins, they get a card from the deck or whatever. But the way we did it is you sign the card. So they take one of your cards, but you sign it, and at the end you can see how many like signed cards you have in your deck that you got from your opponents, and sometimes you can get multiple signed cards if they take the same card. So sometimes you can have a bomb rare that's signed multiple times because it's getting passed around. It's super cool. I love shit like that, man.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. But even if you don't sign the card, you could just sign the sleeve. So you got a sort of reminder of how many.
Just get a Sharpie out, sign right over the art, man.
all over the fabled cog, whatever it's called.
Sign right over that Tarmogoyf. Don't care. Just do it.
Oh
yeah.
That's real magic, baby.
Yeah. And that's when you have cards that have like a lot of sentimental value, right? Like it's just like, oh yeah, I remember this. Like this is a card that I specifically gives me memories, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's one thing I potentially might do after Worlds is so I've got this box. It's the one they sent us creators. They sent creators a box. I think it had the dragons on it, like a long box, similar to the round the table box.
Oh, I have
with dragons on it.
I have it, but there's a bunch of crap on it. Yeah, I have it up here. Yeah.
So I've basically got a load of memories and weird stuff in that box. Like I've got your tokens, like Cardico tokens, or Stevens Scarlet tokens, and Flake signed some Flake out. Flake, what's it called?
I think it's Flake out. Yeah.
Flake out the arrow.
Yeah, Flake out. Yeah.
He like drew like some dude with his penis out on there.
Of course, sure.
Yeah,
dongers out,
and he signed it PP. He said on it. Anyway,
of course.
Yeah, I want maybe just looking through these memories. I don't know where I was going with this really, but just looking through these memories of all these things that you've acquired because of random events or random things. I think it's just nice that you acquire all these little things. But,
yeah, I actually have a little 4-pocket binder that's just full of community cards. So as any card that any person has given to me at any event, there's like Ian's cards, Steven's cards, other random Mr. Chocolate or whatever. I got some of his cards in there. It was just like just a ton.
Yeah.
I think there might be an Azalea Cult membership card in there.
There's got to be.
But yeah, there's just
got to be.
Yeah,
I left like Azalea Cult propaganda in like Jim and Steven's room. Like when we went back there, I think maybe to use a toilet or something during the event, because the event World San Jose was awful toilets, weren't they? So we went back to a hotel room, and I was just like, yeah, I'm going to leave this Azalea Cult propaganda all over Steven's bed or something. Just like little slips of QR codes that took them straight to Go Again Gaming. You know, worst channel on YouTube.
Worst Flesh and Blood channel. No, that's Yazi.
Just. Whoa, we went there.
No.
He's a funny guy.
No, Yazi and I have a good relationship, so don't worry about it. Like it's not feud. He's actually one of the very first. I will say this: like as much as he likes to hate on Flesh and Blood on Twitter or whatever, he was like one of the first people to comment on my very first Flesh and Blood video ever, and he was just like, it's cool to see other people picking up this game. So I do want to give a shout out to Yazi. He has been around since the start. Poor dude just wants brute support. Brute support.
Just wants brute support. And it's just, I respect these individuals that aren't afraid to say what they're feeling. Right. So he's obviously passionate from some sense, and I respect people that say their mind. So fair play.
Yeah, I mean, like how you go about it is debatable, but I will say that someone who doesn't care doesn't get angry about stuff, right? Like people get angry only because they care, and so
exactly.
I said, how they go about it is questionable. I'm not just saying specifically Yazi, I'm just people in general. I'm sure the Magic community could feel this more than anyone else. But people don't get angry if they don't care. Like if they don't care, then you have no one talking about it, and then that's even worse, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, how do we get onto Yazi? He's in all of our minds, rent free at the moment.
Weird tangent.
But pure weird tangents. But there's been some stuff on Twitter recently relating to obviously sealed and draft and all this. There was a tweet from I think his name's Mark, perhaps, who's like the sort of progenitor of something called DraftFAB. So this was basically like similar to Talishar in a way, where it's unofficial flesh and blood tools that allow you to draft in an online environment. And it was taken down. I don't know in what regard and how it was approached or anything. I know it was just taken down.
I heard it was like a C&D, like a cease and desist. That's
what does that mean? Does that mean you just
a cease and desist is like the company's like, hey, stop doing this, take it down, or we will seek legal action. That's basically that's basically what it is. Yeah, it's like take it down, or we'll make you take it down.
Denoting a legally enforceable order from a court or government agency directing someone to stop engaging in a particular activity is the thing that comes up on Google. So I'm going to say that's Google.
It typically happens with a lot. You hear it on a lot of like bigger gaming spheres. Wizards of the Coast has done it more than a few times. Pokemon, gaming. It happens a lot in video gaming. People doing like the fan-made projects of like Metroid and stuff. Yeah,
like Nintendo, Disney.
Yeah.
To send out a lot of cease and desists.
Yep.
What for though? Similar things or?
Yeah, it's when people use their intellectual property without consent. Basically, it's a breach of terms of service or breach of copyright or something like that. It usually falls in these sort of categories. And Flesh and Blood Legendary Studios does have a like terms and conditions, like terms of service use case thing with their intellectual property. I'm actually kind of surprised that they haven't really done more of this. I know a lot of other content creators and just people in the Flesh and Blood space were very this was a big thing early on that really people don't talk about anymore because it's just kind of a normal thing that people do. But early on, we were very like wary of making like playmats, right? Because we were like, are they gonna like be angry? Like for me personally, I just want to have a good relationship with all of the game companies that I work with, and so I didn't want to like step on their toes or do anything that they wouldn't like. So I literally asked Alan Hale from Legend Story Studios. I was like, hey, can I do a playmat? And basically at the time, and I don't know if things have changed all that much since then, but it's like, yes, you can use a playmat. We will even provide they even have like the card, what do you want to call them?
Zones.
They even have the zones that you can use. But the thing is you cannot use any Flesh and Blood official logos or Legend Story Studio logos, and you cannot use any official Flesh and Blood artwork. You can do fan art, and you can do your own thing. But you can't,
thank God for that.
Yeah.
I've got Rosalia all over the place.
And it's like, it's still like, even with the fan art, it's still like, kind of like, nebulous, right? It's kind of like not a strict yes or no. So for example, if you are just or you're just like me or just any other like smaller independent entity who does like a fan art playmat, they're cool with that. If you're ultra pro and then you do a fan art playmat, they are not cool with that. So there's like a scale, right?
Yeah.
Like a production size. And so I'm not sure exactly where this DraftFAB thing lies, because to be frank, I don't really know all that much. I don't know all that much about it. But that's what I know from my personal experiences making Flesh and Blood playmats and stuff. Personally, I don't do any Flesh and Blood characters just because I don't ever want to, if they ever change their minds about something, I don't ever want to be in a weird legally gray area. So all of my characters are all 100% original characters. I just use Flesh and Blood artists to make those characters and help me design the characters. And then I do Flesh and Blood references here and there. So I have like Cracked Bauble in most of my Flesh and Blood things hidden somewhere in the background, and there's like potions and stuff in some of them. But yeah, so that's where, long story short, that's the Flesh and Blood policy from what I see. It might be different if it's like a client that seeks to emulate a gameplay or otherwise experience that they want not to be, how do I put this? That they want to be monetized, right? Like they might just want people to pay for drafts and to open up packs instead of doing it for free or something. I don't know, but
you're simulating an experience that you would normally have to pay to do, right? You'd have to buy products to be able to draft. You have to buy a box to be able to sit there and draft it with your friends and stuff. But I think with regards to the people that are annoyed or upset about this thing being taken down, mainly is, I imagine, people that want to practice drafts, who are the competitive players that are the ones that are going to be having to do this at Worlds. So they can't actually do that now easily. They have to actually crack it open and pay for it, and to get the practice in. Because what I think what this simulation was, it wasn't gameplay. What they were doing is they were cracking the packs and sort of practicing the draft on this platform, and then using a tool like FAB to then put their decks in as a deck list, and then using Talishar to then practice those decks against each other without paying for anything. I think that's maybe the issue that LSS have with it, is that they're not paying for any part of that, really. But interesting response from, I'm going to shout out Fluke and Box here. So he says, hard to form an opinion without knowing the reasons. Obviously, we don't know all the reasons. If you are making a profit from it, then it's 100% reasonable for them to ask you to shut it down. I believe there was a Patreon. So that's a monetization thing, isn't it? So that could also be one of the reasons why, perhaps, if there was monetization from it.
Yeah, honestly, I have no idea. Like without knowing the rules, I'm still surprised that they allow Talishar to be a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we had that whole like 3-episode saga where we talked about, it was called Flesh and Blood Online before.
That's right.
Where we talked about that, and I was surprised they didn't do anything there. And it's kind of weird to me that they're doing something again for this, but they didn't do anything with Talishar. Maybe the policies have changed. Maybe it infringes upon something specifically different. I have no idea.
If you were deck building, you could easily just go on webcam, couldn't you, with your cards? But you'd then still have to pay for those cards to a certain degree. So then you're aiding the secondary market, because you just still have to acquire the cards unless you proxy, which people could also do anyway.
Proxy,
So yeah, it is a strange one, but
yeah, I've heard an argument that this only hurts like the competitive minded people who don't have a team, because like people with teams are just going to practice drafting anyway. I mean, that might be true as well. Like, I mean, I have no judgment either way, honestly, because I'll be completely honest. I've heard of DraftFAB, but I've literally never even opened the website, not even a single time, because
nor have I.
I cover like 5 different games, and I don't have time to practice, digital drafts for Flesh and Blood. If I was going to draft, I'm just going to actually draft.
Just
so
do
I
it.
Actually have the experience of having like fun drafting. But I'm actually curious. With that said, how many of our viewers and watchers out there, Living Legends podcast crew, how many of you have actually, 1, heard of DraftFAB, and 2, used it? I'm curious.
Let us know.
If it was like a really big, well-used thing. I have a feeling it's not. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. So I'm curious.
Yeah, it's a weird one. But I just thought I'd bring it up because it was a hot topic on Twitter this last week with regards to that. But yeah, I think it mainly is just the sort of accessibility factor of being able to practice for something without actually having to pay for it. But no, I don't think any of us really used it. So that is pretty much our sort of take on it, because we didn't really use it. We've just seen it from the outside in, really. So
like
we got no skill in draft. I'm garbage at it anyway.
Oh, I love draft.
I'll just play CC.
I absolutely love draft. Limited is like
very bad at draft.
Limited is my jam. In fact, at the Grand Archive Ascent Houston, I went undefeated in limited. I love limited, but the thing is, like, there's always like these kind of tools. Like, I'm sure I can think of like, it's probably better ones now. But when I used to play competitive Magic, there were like online tools that had like really crappy draft simulators. And then now you can just play Arena or whatever. But I'm sure like it exists for like most games, just a digital draft thing. But
this is a weird offshoot to ask. Obviously, people in the chat here, because what about Tabletop Simulator? Because Flesh and Blood's on there, isn't it? Tabletop Simulator. Do they have the right to be able to grab all the images and just put it on the thing?
Actually, yeah, Flesh and Blood gave consent to do that really, really early on because of COVID. I have no idea if they've like retracted that or whatever, but it was a thing that they publicly announced that at first they were like, hey, we're not going to be doing like tabletop simulator stuff because we want everything wants to be in person. And then like right around Arcane Rising, COVID hit. And I believe that they saw it as like a necessary thing that they have to do to keep people interested in the game because I think they were afraid that the game was going to die because people can't play in person anymore. So yeah, it was an actual thing, if I remember right, that like LSS made an official statement that they're like, yes, like we consent to people using Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like I'm like an old man, and I don't even own a copy of Tabletop Simulator, and I've played Talishar like twice. Like if I'm gonna play, just play with my actual card on a webcam or whatever. If I'm gonna play a digital game, I play more than just Flesh and Blood. I'll go play
a video game.
Yeah, I'll play something else.
Or just play a video game. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think these kind of games, cards and tabletop, and all this, that's in their mission statement. They want to sort of unite people in the flesh and blood. That's what they want to do. They want people to sort of get around and experience it that way, rather than just sitting in front of a screen. Like we all do that too much anyway. We're doing it right now, for fuck's sake.
Oh, it's like my job, man. I'm a full-time content creator. It's like all I do. I'm in front of a camera or TV or laptop or whatever, just editing.
Yeah. And I get people want to practice and do well at events and stuff, but that's another thing as well. Like is draft worth having at like high level events? I guess because
this might be a hot take. Yes, I think so. I believe it for Magic. I believe it for Flesh and Blood. Right. If you are designing the game to be played this way at a competitive level, then I think it should be at competitive level events. Yeah. I think if you want to call yourself the best player at the game, and the game is designed for both limited and constructed, then you need to be the best at both limited and constructed.
Yeah.
Like even though I'm not good at limited, I know that it takes it like it is something like it's not just a coin flip, right? When you're drafting, even though for me it totally looks like it because I just don't have the mind for draft. But like if people are good at draft, they will continue it. They will continually top events.
Yeah, 100%.
Like there is a skill that is needed in order to draft properly. So I do think that it's a good sort of guidepost, like metric for determining who the best players are in what capacity.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because obviously some people can make day two because their draft performance was good and their CC portion wasn't great, for instance. But that's another good thing, I guess, about that is the fact that you might just run into crap matchups, and that is prevalent in this game because it's hero centric. So you might just run into the opposite of what your deck wants to play against, and you can sort of salvage that in a draft scenario if you're good at it. So I guess that's a valid argument to have for it. But yeah, I can appreciate it is hard for people. You need 8 people to play a draft. So taking away the ability to emulate that online means that a lot of people aren't going to be able to do that. Really, getting 8 people together that want to play is difficult, right? To play draft competitively,
it can be pretty tough to get drafts to fire. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, like I used to host my own drafts back in college. The drinking drafts are great. Completely different though, but it was just like, every new Magic set, we'd invite all the friends over, we'd have a big old draft and get drunk. And we wouldn't even, it was such a good time too, because like no one paid attention to spoilers any of the sets, so no one knew anything about the cards. I remember it was like Innistrad, and I ended up drafting like the Snapcaster, and I was like, I think this is one of like the Invitational or the whatever cards, like the face cards. That was pretty good.
I think this is maybe one of the strongest cards that they've printed thus far.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I do remember like.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, but like draft, I like it. I have nothing against the DraftFAB thing, by the way. I'm very curious as to why they took it down, especially since they're not touching Talishar. At least that we know of, right? Like that's
what a lot of people have been saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people have been saying. If they can take down DraftFAB, then why can't they do the same? And it's a lot of people saying, "Oh, be careful what you wish for" and all this, because they could do that, couldn't they?
They could if they wanted to, like easily, right?
Yeah. So
what's the difference between playing a constructed format and playing a sealed format? What's the difference between those two then, for them to take down one rather than the other?
It's really hard to tell without like actually knowing. Like, I guess that's something that we should also say, just to like cover our asses. Like, this is all speculation.
We don't know.
We have no idea, but it also might even just be down to something as granular as like the DraftFAB format, or like the service that it was providing was either emulating pull rates too accurately or incorrectly. Like, it could even be just down to something like that, where it's like, this is technically inaccurate, so we don't want people to think that this is the way that it is.
True.
Like, it could potentially be something that granular and that like non visible, I suppose is the word I would use for it. Like, everybody's thinking, oh, it might be because they're using card images, but there are all these other places that use card images.
I don't think
it could be something industry like related.
I also like I'm a very like not cynical person, but like the cynic in me says something like, maybe because it simulates a purchasable thing, right? So like it's simulating opening packs, and they want you to pay for opening packs, right? Like, they want you to actually buy the packs and open the packs, like, and this simulates that, whereas Talishar simulates like proxying, and people can do that for free anyway, right?
They can do that anyway, yeah.
But you can't really technically, like, at least easily simulate, opening packs for free. Like, because even if you do a cube, you still have to buy the cards and make it. Or I guess you could proxy a cube if you want to put in that much work. But like, it's just, I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest.
Yeah. So it's a strange one, but that was the talk. That was the talk of the week this week on Twitter. So just thought we'd mention it.
The official Living Legends podcast stance. No, we don't know. Like,
we don't know.
I don't know.
No idea.
No idea.
Definitely happened.
Nothing against DraftFAB. No idea.
Yeah.
Like,
no idea. I'm just literally just checking Twitter right now. 10 minutes ago, there's someone saying hashtag free draft fab. Oh my goodness me! It's funny, isn't it?
I don't know if they're gonna do this. So I have noticed that Flesh and Blood. So I should probably say what I'm thinking before I just talk about the next topic.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they would say why. Like, I don't know if they're going to make a public statement saying why. And the reason I say that is, if you asked me like 2 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, they might. But now I've noticed that they're transitioning more to a more structured, I don't want to say corporate, but like a more structured company mindset than they used to be, where it's more of like a free-flowing casual thing, where James White kind of felt like, hey, he's just one of the guys who just plays card games or whatever. And now it's like, it definitely feels more, at least from my perspective as like a content creator, feels more of like, he's the CEO. If I want to talk to him, I have to go through his secretary kind of thing, rather than just DMing him on like Facebook.
Very much so.
And then I noticed, and this is like something that me and like some other like Diarmada noticed and stuff, like their official Twitter account used to follow me and some other content creators, and they unfollowed all of us, and now they only follow like IGN and like other like media outlets. And so I've noticed this shift slowly go from like being like we're part of the crew, into like, no, we're like a corporate thing now. Like, we're like a company entity, and we're going to start acting like that. And if that's their tone that they're going with, I'm not saying it's bad. That's probably good, actually, for being like a legitimate, like, big business. But what I am saying is that because of that, I have a feeling they might not even like address it. They might just be like, we don't have to tell you anything, and we're not gonna.
I've noticed that too, and I think that because of how big they are, it just kind of makes sense that they were going to step into those corporate, as you say, shoes eventually.
Because
like the one way that you can tank your business as quickly as possible is to just let everyone to say what they want at all times instead of having like some type of filter there, because like, you know, they have public valuation. They have like all this stuff that they have to worry about. So it does just make sense. Obviously it's unfortunate because we've been here long enough to have seen that shift happen, but yeah, it's just like, just how it goes.
We have all been here a very long time, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that's like a bad thing, by the way, for people who, because my tone might have been like, put it like, oh, it was better before than it is now. I'm just saying like, this is an observation that I've, noticed in the past like 6 months or so, I would say.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially for you, I will say like you were able to just like Facebook message James White directly, and every time you mentioned that, I was like, God, that's so cool.
I still have and like can, because like, for example, just really quick, after I played the Round the Table product at Prof's place, I DM'd both James White and Brian Gottlieb, and I was like, I think you guys have a killer product. I think you did an amazing job. Because I just wanted to say, I think, I just wanted to give like direct feedback. And then James like reached out. But like, what I'm saying is like, if I want to have James like on my channel for an interview or like on the Living Legends, it's more of a process now. Like he's got a schedule. Like he's the CEO of a massively growing game company, and he's got like, itineraries and stuff. In addition to designing cards. So
yeah,
it's different, but I think it was like something that was inevitable if they were going to continue to be successful, for sure. Yeah. And like, I'm no stranger to doing, to going through the middleman. Most of the games I cover, I have a pretty good relationship with the companies. So, a lot of experience just talking through the reps or whatever.
Yeah. But, well, that's another thing that's been very, very good and recently, and probably getting a lot of eyes on the game, is that round the table thing, right? With the professor's new video and all this. That's going to get so many Magic players looking at it.
I did want to talk about this, because I have seen a lot of people being like, guess I'm going to try Flesh and Blood out, or like, this is making me try the game out, which is just awesome. And that's exactly what I like really hoped it would be. And I think the guests that Prof got on for the Shuffle Up and Play, I haven't watched it yet because it came out yesterday and I was flying back from Texas yesterday from Ascent, so I haven't had time to actually watch it. But the guests that he got on for that, I think were like really good, because they are folks who will help bring in a new audience, which I think is like kind of the idea. I know a lot of folks like assumed that like me and Steven or me and DM Armada would be back on for the Shuffle Up and Play for that. But I think that would have been cool. And I think it would have been fun for us. Obviously, I would have loved that. And fun for the Flesh and Blood community. But I don't think it would have necessarily helped grow the game in the way that getting someone like Kyle Hill on.
Yeah, they want the Magic optics, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, like, and Kyle is just kind of like a well-known, well-liked person. Cedric Phillips, same kind of deal. And then I think it was Amy, the Amazonian, was on there too. And like I said, I haven't watched it yet, but I think those are the three guests. And I did kind of like scroll through some of the comments on it, and there was a lot of people like, hey, I want to play Flesh and Blood now, or like, hey, this looks fun. So I saw a tweet from Josh Lee Kwai, who was like, Flesh and Blood is great. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude, this is what we want. And like, it's something I've been thinking about a lot more as I've been kind of like looking back into Magic, and not really getting back into it, but sort of in my own way. And that there's a certain part of the Flesh and Blood community that's like very anti-Magic. And like, yeah, I understand that. Like, Wizards of the Coast sucks. I think there are people at Wizards of the Coast who are great, but as a company, Hasbro, they kind of suck. I think we all need to understand that Magic is a very popular game and it's doing very well. And like, if Flesh and Blood can like be like, how do I want to put this? If the community can be welcoming and open to Magic players, all that does is grow Flesh and Blood, is what I'm getting at. If people could be like, hey, Magic players, come play our game too. It's fun and it's cool. Like that's just a great thing. Instead of being like, Magic sucks, Magic players suck, you all suck. It should be like, hey, we're welcoming, come play games with us, kind of thing.
Yeah, we can occupy the same space. That's totally fine.
Yeah,
but yeah, the obviously the round the table product is obviously focused on multiplayer, right? So when all these new players are seeing this thing, they're seeing the multiplayer part first rather than anything else. So that's also an interesting tactic as well, isn't it, to get the multiplayer casual audience in, because that's very much still a fresh thing for Flesh and Blood, isn't it? Focusing on that and PvE on the horizon and all this.
Yeah, I think that's like really important. Like I think getting like that audience is very, very important, because I think if you're like a competitive tournament grinder, you probably already know about Flesh and Blood. Like if you're competitive, if you're a pro player playing Magic right now, you already know about Flesh and Blood, and you already decided if you're going to be playing it or not. Like if you're Reed Duke, he already knows about Flesh and Blood, and he's like made his choice. Same with like LSV and all these people. They don't need to appeal to them. They need to appeal to like the random person playing, Commander 4 nights a week. Like that's who they need to, like, Flesh and Blood needs to appeal to.
And I did a little video on this recently, is like why heroes are so important, and this is one of the things that you can immediately gravitate towards if you're playing Commander, is that you're playing it because you want to play a certain thing, a certain archetype or a certain deck or whatever. You get that straight away with FAB. Round the Table is a nice sort of way of introducing people to it, and there's obviously heroes designed for UPF in that thing, but still, you look at anyone else coming into this game now has got this huge hero page. You'd be like, oh, Teklo Vossen, oh, Viserai, oh, Bravo. You can identify with someone straight away with this game, and then you can either play one of the multitude of different formats. So it's just a fantastic gateway into the game, I think. And I think I haven't watched the recent James White interview with Ivor Fidia, the French channel, but I think one of the main things that was mentioned on there as part of the tweet that they put out, that there will be more round the table products each year, one each year, I believe.
I sure hope so. It's a concept.
So is that going to be going on the same train with collaborations from other creators?
I don't know. Like,
is that going to be a
round the table game nights or something?
Exactly.
That'd be really good. That would be a huge reach.
It would be a huge reach. Yeah, that's what I mean. But
as much as I would love around the table living legends, they're probably going to go for like game nights or something before they even like.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, but what if though?
Yeah,
we can have an assassin, a ranger, and whatever the illusionist. Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe in the
illusionist.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then we can have Brute as our fourth one, because Ian's like our special fourth host. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Jim from FAB TCG Cards is only the co-host of the Azalea Cult. He doesn't get his own hero.
Well, he already gets in. He gets into your deck because he's also a ranger.
He does. That's right. Yeah.
So you can have a couple like skeleton archer cards and or whatever.
Oh, imagine that if there's a new hero, there's a new card type, which basically means when you draw it, you can play it, and then you become a different hero, which is basically like demi heroes, but yeah. But that should be good fun. See what they do with that, each year. See what collaborations they can bring in, because they're probably gonna use that same model, aren't they, to get more people into it, because it's just been a massive success. It's funny to see as well, to a certain degree. Us three and Stephen were playing UPF a couple of years ago, making videos on it, and now everybody's playing it. Good. As if it's this new thing. It's not new. We've been playing it the whole time. You just needed to open your eyes to it, and that's the power of someone of the professor that can sort of have that influence over you, and that's the reason why they do it, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what they do next time.
I need to go find my old tweets where I was like, UPF is going to be huge in a year or two. Mark my words. I literally made like two or three tweets like that.
Oh, speaking of which as well, I did a little tweet on this as well. Is that I still have a lot of the games that we played that I didn't manage to get around to doing the editing for. So I'm probably just going to release those videos, but just the Discord call with a little bit of editing on there.
Yeah.
So one of them that never made it was our Uprising battle, where Bill was playing Phi, you were playing Michael, Stephen was playing Icelander, and I was playing Viserai because I thought Viserai was sort of Volcorian at the time.
Well, he's from Volcor originally,
or is he? That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Kale, correct us, Dead Summer, if we're wrong.
I think Kale would say. I think the official actual response is that Sutcliffe thought that he was from Volcor when he found him on the shores of the monastery, so he gave him a Volcorian name. I think that's why.
Sounds about right.
I think that's the actual reason, but yeah.
But yeah, that might be coming out soon. So it's just going to be the Discord call with a few card overlays and stuff. But it was funny.
I don't remember that game at all. I don't remember.
No, and we ruled it so that Bill could not break the chain if he attacked to his left or right.
Yeah.
So he could attack twice at me and then one at you, and then you could still have the same chain link for masks and stuff. I think we also.
I think that ended up being good because I think I remember that one being the same one as well, where Steven could target anybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think I do remember this one.
Yeah, so Steven
didn't that start off with like a turn 1 chain lightning for 7 or something ridiculous?
So that definitely
I think that might have been the first game.
Oh, so that definitely happened, but it might be a different one.
Game.
Steven always plays some sort of degenerate wizard or something.
Yeah, because did he play Kano the first time? First game we played?
Always forces us to play Arcane Barrier. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All those videos are still up there, by the way, so you can all go and watch those. If you're looking at UPF right now, they're all on the internet. You can go and see them. Just type in Ultimate Pit Fight, it will come up.
Yeah.
I think they're released on all of our channels, weren't they? Apart from Spike Feeders. At the same time.
Up to a certain point. I think like the first 2 or 3 were all on all 3 of ours. Yeah. And then you started doing it on your own for the other series. That's kind of the same series, but it was just like your pit night one. Yeah.
Oh, a Pit Night, yeah. Which I just don't have the time to do, unfortunately. I'm going to be editing the cosplay special one, which everyone dressed up for, which was great, apart from me. So you will see one more of those, but I still got loads of footage. I got obviously the one we did with Remain from Arvifidia and Leo, Brazilian fella.
I was total heel in that one. So if you ever do that one, you watch me be like a heel. I played Arachne, by the way. And I definitely got into the manipulation and sneaky assassin-y stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there'll be a few more videos, not to the same extent of the ones that we were involved in and the editing, because it just takes too long. But maybe it is a good time to start doing it properly, because UPF might be more popular going forward. But it's not. It's that sort of video is just probably not for me at this moment in time. Table Pit do a great job as well. They do the in real life one. Bill, you're going to be doing one soon, I believe, as well.
That's true. Yeah, we're going to be doing an in-person review of the Round the Table product, actually, and we're going to be filming that in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Nice.
Nice. Well, so it's a review and a gameplay, is it? Same thing, or?
It is.
Nice.
It's very, very excited to be able to do that.
Who's going to be starring in that then? Is Jim playing in that? Is your brother playing in that?
Jim will be playing in it, actually.
Sick.
It'll be his first game of Flesh and Blood since we started doing Flesh and Blood content.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still has a Bolton deck that I put together for him initially because he liked it.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, but that's going to be interesting. It's going to be me, Elliot, Jim, and then we're going to have one game with Jay and one game with Kaylee as our fourth.
Nice.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
It's
going to be a lot of fun.
Probably a peek behind the curtain, but they'll probably be you'll be filming 2 but only using 1. Is that what you mean, or?
I think we're going to be using both of them, just in slightly different capacities.
Okay.
I want to keep some amount of secrecy behind it, but there will be 2 videos as far as I know. So Just keep some eyes out on some official channels and see what happens.
Ooh.
Yeah, we can shout out those a little bit later as to where they might where they might appear.
Once I get my round the table product, which should be on Thursday, so like the day after this filming, is when my bright lights and my round the table pre-orders should arrive. I'm going to do a review of the round the table product, and I also want to do a live stream gameplay of it.
I wish I could get it. I can't get it anywhere in the UK. Can't get it bloody anywhere. I spoke to the people that I work with here, and they said they are getting it, so they're going to let me know as soon as it comes in, so I can just buy it because it's going to fly out the door as soon as it arrives on the website. So, but I think there's been a bit of a delay with Asmodee or something over in Europe. So we'll see.
I bought 2, but I plan on giving one of them away in the review because I want people to try it, play it, because I think it's spoilers. I think it's incredible. I think I already mentioned this, that I immediately after playing it for a night, I messaged James and Brian, and I was like, I think you guys have a slam dunk home run product on your hands. Here's a little spoiler for my review. I think it is Flesh and Blood's best sealed product that they have ever made. Their best non-booster product that they have ever made, and I don't think it's particularly close either. I think it's like leagues above everything that they've done so far. So, yep. If you think it's gonna sell out, maybe you should go buy it from your LGS, because I think it's good. Especially if the LGS is MSRP is like $70 or whatever, but a lot of places are selling it from MAP, which is like $55. And $55 for like 4 decks and the playmat and like the box and stuff is just like really good price. Especially since the decks have like good cards in them, like play sets and stuff. Like, hey, do you need some Coaxa Commotions? Hey, there's two in the Bard deck. There's also 2 Crazy Brews in the Bard deck. Like, there's like play sets.
I really want to play that deck, mate. I really do. It's absolute final act or whatever it is for like, I've seen it on Twitter, like, oh yeah, final act for like 19 damage for every person or whatever.
Yeah, I can't
remember what it does, but
I hit someone for like 20 something. So what it does is its attack is double the number of cards in your pitch zone, I believe.
Right.
So what you do is Melody, her whole strategy is you play cards that generate silver, right? Or she generates silver when you play like songs and stuff. I mean, copper, not silver. Silver would be too strong. She generates copper. And you're like, why do I want copper? Copper sucks. There's no cash-ins or anything in this deck. And that's because you want to amass just a crap load of coins. And then when you're ready to kill someone, you have a bunch of blue pitch cards in your hand, and then you just pitch and crack the copper to draw a card, pitch, draw, pitch, draw, pitch, draw, and then you final act someone for like 20 plus damage and one-shot them.
That's so sick.
And then before you do that, you crack I think it's your boots that gives every player a Quicken token. So you do that for free with your boots, give every player a Quicken token, including yourself. So then you can give your final act go again, and then you follow that up with a encore to get final act from your graveyard to your hand, and then one shot another person. Like that's what you do. It's a combo deck. You set up all these things. You play the politic game, make sure no one kills you, and then you just go draw. Combo. One shot you. Like,
how much does it? What does it cost to play final act?
I think it's one. It's one drop.
One.
I think it's one drop. Wow. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it's.
I played this like
sure it's cheap.
I played it like 3 or 4 weeks ago, so I don't remember off the top of my head. But I did play it, and I did one-shot someone, and it was great. I did not win the game, but I almost won the game. Professor ended up winning. Not the actual professor, but the person playing the professor ended up winning. Which I think
it's kind of funny that the professor didn't end up playing himself.
He did. So we had a group of like, it was like 5 people. So it was like me, Prof, George, who has been on some of, I think George's might have been in a couple like shuffle up and play videos. He's like a cool local dude. And then 2 of his editors. And I think Kyle was playing the professor's deck, or playing the professor at the time. Yeah, I did not play with the professor. I ended up playing with Bravant, Melody. Did I play with Ira? I don't remember. We played a couple games. And I will say, a lot of people, if you haven't played it yet, a lot of people were like worried about like Ira being too strong. And Ira did not win a single game that I played. Put it that way. Ira's still good, but the thing is like Ira can pump out a whole bunch of damage, but like, who cares?
Get ganged up on.
Who cares if you can do 20 damage? Because Brevant can block for other people. He can. He has all those. They're called like chivalry cards or whatever. The blocks, and then his shield can also block for other people. So if someone's like if Ira's trying to dunk on someone, you can politic as Brevant and be like, hey, I can protect you, so you can save some cards. But you know those cards that you're saving, make sure you throw them at Ira on this turn and maybe the next turn too, just for good measure, and then I'll help you out, kind of thing. It's so much.
So what do people started on politics early?
Yeah, that's right.
It's good. It's fun.
So what do we think what's going to happen with UPF then? Do you reckon they'll introduce heroes that are designed for UPF in? I guess they can't, because they're not doing supplementary sets anymore, are they? Really?
So I think if they want to, they're probably just going to save them for the round the table product if they're going to do that every year. So they'll probably save
once a year designed for UPF. That's not much, is it?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's bad if we're getting like 3 to 4 new heroes every other set that you could still use UPF that aren't specifically designed for it. Because
I would prefer that they stray away from specifically designing for UPF with like frequency, because that is one of the things that I dislike about Magic.
I was going to ask you, because
specifically Commander.
I know a lot of Commander players hate that. Like they're just pumping out Commander only cards, and it like warps the format like drastically, and then you have like stuff like Thrasios and whatever, where you just have like these degenerate combos.
I'm very okay with what they've done so far, just for the record, because the thing about the design for Commander that they've done is it started out that they were just acknowledging the format, and it was cool, and they were adding like a couple of things that just made the format either a little bit more interesting or give you a little bit more diversity, but not impact the game quite as much. Be like, oh, we're going to start making a couple of new legendary creatures that maybe are too dumb or expensive or whatever for regular play,
like Prosh or something.
Yeah, but they work within Commander, or they're like, Commander used to be a very slow format. Too slow, honestly.
My very first Commander deck I built was like when Commander was first becoming a thing, and it was an Una, Queen of the Fae, where I just tried to assemble infinite mana and mill people with Una, which is a 6-drop Commander in blue-black. And we did not have, by the way, at the time, we did not have your arcane signet
stuff. No ramp.
No ramp, no dramatic reversal, none of that stuff. And that was obviously, the format was slow, but that was kind of part of it. And right now I think LSS is in the stage of they're acknowledging the format, and they're adding things to make it a little bit smoother, especially with like block cards, like being able to block for your opponents so that you can effectively politic. But if they start doing it like really frequently, I think you fall into that pit, pun intended, of just doing too much for the format specifically, to the point where it starts to be a detriment.
Yeah.
So what if
Bill? How do you feel about
stop?
I have a philosophical question for you, Bill. This will pertain to Magic, but we can link this to Flesh and Blood as well. How do you feel about Commander cards that aren't like, game breaking, but they're so good that literally everyone puts them in every single deck they make? So like Command Tower, Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, maybe not Soul Ring, because that's a little bit different. But like the cards that they made specifically for Commander that everyone puts in every single Commander deck, just because it's just part of it now. What do you feel about those? And what we can extrapolate that to Flesh and Blood, and should Flesh and Blood make that kind of stuff?
Even those cards that you mentioned kind of sit in their own sort of spheres of influence. Like the main example that I'll pull from cards that you've already that you mentioned is Command Tower. Command Tower was printed at a time where mana fixing was bad, like objectively horrendous. You had fetch lands, but
fetches and duels. If you got those, then you're good. If you didn't, it sucks to be you.
But then those were your only real things. That was your mana fixing. You'd also play like Rampant Growth and a bunch of just other stuff. And outside of that, like you mentioned, didn't have Arcane Signet, didn't have a bunch of stuff. So at the time it was fine, but now it's sort of drowned out in a sea of like Command Tower is good and ubiquitous, but it doesn't have nearly the same sort of novelty as it used to. And I can relate that pretty easily into Flesh and Blood with just good generic cards. Which is something that we've already seen, things like, I don't know, Enlightened Strike and even equipment like Crown of Providence and whatever. I think if they start to print things that are good for UPF, it's fine. But if you start printing too many generic things, decks will start to converge towards themselves. Decks will start to just be the same sort of things, like especially with Commander. It starts out with, oh, I'm going to play this deck, so I'm just going to add these 30 base cards that just go in every single Commander deck. And instead of a 100-card deck, you're only doing like 60. And sometimes in even more extreme cases, it's like, here are the 80 cards that this deck has to play.
Yeah.
So it can start to devolve into, I'm just going to be playing, like, you're not building a deck, the deck builds itself. And I find that really uninteresting.
Reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually.
Yeah, it's with like that's another type of game where it's like I'm going to play this strategy. Maybe two of the cards are things that I really have my own influence on.
Yep.
But yeah, like for UPF right now, it's like a no man's land. Like it is just completely wild. You can build whatever you want and it's good. And that's, I think, the way that it's supposed to be. That is where like fun gameplay happens.
So what if
things are unoptimal?
So what if UPF, obviously, round the table, experimented with these new mechanics like Brevant being able to block for anybody? What if heroes were able to do that regardless?
I think that would then it's tough to say, because I think that would invalidate the identity of Brevant, with his whole like deck just kind of being based around that. Being able to block whoever you want, being able to block for whoever you want. But at the same time, that might just be an update to the format that is needed in some capacity.
Yeah, because chivalry is very much a mechanic built for UPF, isn't it?
Yeah,
and potentially PvE as well. When that comes out, we need these blanket things that heroes can do, to have worth them being in your team for when you do the PvE thing also. So they need to also think of that as well when they design cards as well, right? Rather than just UPF.
I think not making these effects game wide makes it so that they have more and potentially even, interesting design options in the future, so they can print other cards that allow you to block for other people and make them like really interesting. The same is true for attacking only to your left and right. You can make a hero that's like, that would be super sweet for UPF. It's like, this hero can attack any hero on the field regardless, but maybe you have a penalty to it or whatever. I think they have a lot of design space where they can implement that kind of stuff and make cards exciting specifically for UPF by doing that. Like maybe I'm just rambling off the top of my head. Maybe there's like a card that attacks 3 players at once. Like maybe there's a card that attacks 1 player and then both players next to them. So it's like a trident, and maybe like the middle person gets like the biggest attack and the people on the side get small attacks. Like I think if they could lean into those as interesting mechanics rather than just getting rid of them, because I think it's what will eventually make UPF more interesting than something like Commander, because it's different. And I think they should lean I think they should lean into the differences rather than make it more like Magic. They should make it more like their own thing, less like Magic. That's just my opinion on it.
And I'm gonna agree with that as well, because one of my favorite board games of all time is a board game called Cosmic Encounter. So people in the chat, if you know what this is, leave a comment in the section below if you've listened to this far. But that's exactly the same thing. It's a multiplayer game, and you choose an alien to play with, and every single alien has a different power that alters the game rules in some way. So every single player can either do a little politic there or add power here or do whatever. So it gives your character, and in the board game industry, it's known as variable player powers. Is one of these things that will attract someone to the game, because your hero or your person that you're playing is completely different to somebody else, and your ability can sculpt a situation differently to somebody else, and that leads to political situations and extra value here and there. So I think that is definitely, if they do want to design for UPF, they can design within UPF, but just do it on a weird and wonderful basis like they have done with Brevant, being able to basically break the rules of the game by being able to block for anybody.
I'm just trying to think of really fun, cool designs. Like, imagine there's a ranger that's a sharpshooter, and then they can attack. Yeah. They can attack anyone, but only for the first arrow they fire each turn, and only if the arrow was in their arsenal since the last turn, because they're a sniper, so they had to set up the shot.
Yeah.
So it had to be waiting in there for a turn, but then they can shoot it at anyone because they're snipers. Just they could do cool stuff like that and make it flavorful and make it specifically really good for UPF and not have to worry about people complaining about it in CC or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So you could, as that ranger, you could then politic with the players T left and right, saying, right, don't attack me. I'm going to set up and I'm going to shoot this person who I wouldn't be able to normally do that with. And it's going to be a red in the ledger dominated for 11.
Yeah, maybe it's Azalea, dead sniper or something like that. She could just snipe people. It'd be sweet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how it turns out and what other products they do and how they design for it, because it's clearly bringing a lot of people in who want to play hero-centric, social, identify with a certain character and just have a bit of fun situation. So the more people we get like that, the better, really.
Yeah.
Fun, the easy people to just play with, rather than just hyper sweaties and what have you.
I really do think,
which is me today.
different kind of hyper sweaty, actually hyper sweaty.
Yeah.
I do really think
that the sweat's dry now though, so it's not bad. It's just not smelling it.
For the audio only listeners, that was Az smelling himself,
smelling his armpits. Anyway, carry on.
I was gonna say, I think this is likely the future of Flesh and Blood. You will always have the competitive scene, the competitive players, but as with any card game, the casual crowd always outweighs the competitive crowd, and I think it's just going to be more and more prevalent for Flesh and Blood going forward, especially if you do have collaborations with people like game nights or whatever. You'll get more and more people who are into the more casual focused thing, people who just are into their specific hero or character that they really like. And I think Flesh and Blood 4 years from now is probably going to be quite different than it is right now. I think we're at the start of something, maybe a little bit of a shift in Flesh and Blood, where Flesh and Blood right now to me feels like it's just you play Flesh and Blood, and for most people you talk to, they either play CC, maybe they play Blitz. I know there's some places that really like Blitz, and that's kind of it. Some people will play Limited here or there. I don't know if anyone plays Limited as their main format in Flesh and Blood. It's mostly just you play CC, you play Blitz, and that's kind of it. Occasionally you dabble in. Maybe you play Commoner. Maybe you're one of the people like us who play UPF. But I think 5 years from now, 3 years from now, you'll have a big portion of the people who are I only play UPF, or someone who's maybe even Commoner picks up. They're I only play Commoner or whatever. Where it's like Magic. Magic is so big and so old that people can do whatever the hell they want, and they do. I think Flesh and Blood is trending that way, which is a good thing, by the way. I think it's a very good thing. Where if you like CC, go for it. You can just play CC. That's all you want to do. That's all. Sure. But I think eventually, if hey, you only play casual UPF. Hey, you could only play casual UPF, and that's totally cool. If you're
fuels all of the economics as well, right? Because you want to get the cards that might not necessarily be in constructed decks or whatever. It creates that whole thing as well, where you chase different cards for different reasons because there's so many different formats that you can play them in. So definitely fuels all that side of it as well. And there's Living Legend format now as well, which is going to be interesting to play.
Yeah. I didn't talk about it in this episode yet, but I got bad news that I basically will likely not be going to Worlds because my passport application was denied because there was a problem with my birth certificate. Long story short, I need to get a new birth certificate, but I can't do it online for reasons. So I have to mail them documentation to get my birth certificate, in which they will mail back to me. And then I need to mail the State Department my thing so I can further my application. And that's not going to happen in 40 days. Like, I'm probably going to get the mailing procedures going to maybe take that long. So that's my short way of, or my long way of saying I'm pretty bummed that I'm not going to be able to play Living Legends at Worlds, because I really wanted to play Living Legends at Worlds, because like, yeah, I wanted to play Chain, man. Like, I have it, like, well, not fully built, but I was gonna build Chain.
Yeah, it is a shame. It is a shame, but these things happen. Unfortunately, it's just bloody. You have to so many steps. You have to just well, ridiculous.
The thing is like, I had no idea. It basically said my birth certificate was like incomplete or whatever. And to peel it back a little bit, I was born on an Air Force base, so it's a little bit of a different birth certificate, and it was like cut kind of weirdly, and never had a problem with it before. Got my driver's license, got all my other stuff with it, but apparently the State Department is like, nope, don't like it. You need another one. So like, I told Robin, and she's like, we should have just sent it in earlier. And I was like, how would I have known? Like, it's worked for literally everything else. So yeah, I'm a little annoyed, but.
Yeah.
Well,
that's unfortunate.
You'll
still be there though. So.
You'll have some Bill and Az exclusive like content from Worlds. You guys can shoot like a Worlds LLP episode, and then you just kind of like, I don't know, like
splice you in.
Oh, actually, we could actually do that. Would actually be kind of interesting if we wanted to just join a call. If you had a way to do that, to do like a remote LLP.
Yeah, I'll be taking a laptop with me because I want to do some stuff while I'm there for sure.
Because then I can just I could ask you questions about it and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And it could then you while you're obviously at home, you could still edit it and release it as normal as well. While we're there.
That's true. Yeah. I'll be here.
Give him the work.
I'll be here slaving away over a hot laptop. Anyway, but next year will be the year when we all meet in flesh and blood to do something. Maybe in Bill's country. Yeah,
we will see.
It's possible.
I'll be down for that. Yeah. So
absolute road trip. Yeah, needs to be done.
Fly into whatever the closest airport to Winnipeg is. Ontario. I don't really know. Canadian.
No, there's an airport in. Yeah, there's an airport in Winnipeg.
There is.
Oh, like an international. I wonder if I can fly direct from Portland to Winnipeg. I don't know. If I can.
Yeah, for international, you might still be able to. Maybe.
I imagine what'll happen for me is Portland, and it'll probably fly up to either like Vancouver or something like that, and then from Vancouver to wherever the local, like the Canadian one is. I'll probably fly up to international to Vancouver and then over. That's what I imagine. But
yeah, mine's connector as well. It goes to Toronto and then Winnipeg from UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I even said, because I message and send flake videos every now and again when I'm pissed out of my head, and I said if I stop in Toronto, can I see you? And he's like, yeah, absolutely, come and stay around. I'm like, yes, all right then. so I need to take a detour to Toronto for at least a day, just so I can just do a vlog with in Flake's place. Make the most out of Canada, because obviously he's there as well in Toronto. But yeah, it's massive place. Needs to be done at some stage. Anyway.
Any other flesh and blood things? I'm really excited for UPF. I need to go find where you said that they're going to do one of these per year, because I really hope they are. Like around the table programs.
Yeah, so James is on...
One per year makes sense for specifically UPF related products personally.
I mean, like, they used to do that for Commander, right? It was like the yearly Commander release. Because I used to buy, so cut a little, backstory. I used to buy every Commander product up until maybe the first Eldraine. They did like the Brawl decks or whatever. I think that might be. Oh no, I have the Strixhaven one. So up till Strixhaven is when I kind of.
Was that a yearly thing? Was it? No, it's just a set thing.
It's like,
it used to be a year.
It's like more than that now. It's like every occasion that they have, they give one. They give Commander decks.
Commander decks. And,
I think the thing that made it the worst as well, just sort of tying back to the previous discussion, is they didn't just have Commander-centric products. The design started bleeding into regular Magic sets too.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something to look out for as well that I would not like to see.
Yeah, I think like I think they could do it just to make it more UPF friendly. Like, like each player, and rather than like you and your opponent, that kind of thing where like something affects, but like
sort of correcting for the alternate play,
because like
play styles.
The other game, I don't know if I can find an example here, but the other game that I'm like really, really into right now that I just absolutely love is like Shadowverse Evolve. And in Shadowverse Evolve, they don't really have like a multiplayer format, but I've noticed that they template their cards so that if there is a multiplayer format, then it would work. Because there are cards that like, instead of just saying your opponent discards a card, it's like each opponent discards a card. And they just kind of like bake that in, which I think is good. Yeah.
Exactly. Same with Lorcana as well. They've already got each opponent, when this enters play, each opponent loses one law. For instance, the Aladdin card, which I absolutely love. 4 of those in my deck, baby. Arabian Nights. Anyway,
as is slowly becoming that person that we were making fun of in the April Fool's episode, if you remember.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Yeah, just sat there with my Lorcana decks.
I mean, that is what happens when you start saying something ironically, and then you start saying it unironically, and you don't even realize, and then you're like, "What have I become?"
I've become the thing I swore to destroy.
So as when are you building goof stomping?
Goose Stomp is on the list, but I don't think it's relevant into the current meta, which is Amethyst and Ruby. No, I just love Aladdin. Aladdin's my favorite Disney. We can sort of transition to the Arsenal step, I imagine, from here.
Sure.
We already are.
Sure, why not? But yeah, Aladdin was my favorite Disney. Absolutely loved it. Jasmine as well, fantastic Disney princess. Cave of Wonders, just loved it. I love that whole sequence.
Rough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aladdin is one of my favorites too. I saw it in the theaters when I was a kid.
God, yeah.
Brilliant. I'm not like what you would call like a Disney adult, like some friends that I have, but I do find Disney interesting. I have a degree in film, and one of the courses that I took was like a history about Disney and just learning about Disney as a company, as an animation studio. So I do think it's fairly interesting. And I don't dislike Disney, but I'm not like crazy for it like a lot of people are.
I just kind of think that it's crazy how they like transitioned themselves into an empire. Like that they're just like, Walt Disney just wanted to make a theme park and potentially also a city for like people to live in.
You wanted a city, yeah.
That's right.
It's one of those things where like, they failed a lot, but they just kept at it. Yeah. It was interesting thing.
Aladdin's one of my favorites as well because it's the underdog story. It's the street rat that manages to sort of fall in love with a princess and all this, and then he goes on a quest to the Cave of Wonders and manages to get out of there and all this. So it's just one of my favorite stories, and hence why I love Azalea again, because she was obviously brought up in the pits and all this. So it's that sort of underdog story is what I really gravitate towards as a character and stuff, and that's absolutely love it. But I don't know why we start talking about.
I just really love the theme, like 1001 Arabian Nights. I love
exactly.
I love like the whole Scheherazade thing. Back when I used to play Force of Will, for the 2 people listening who actually know anything about Force of Will, I played Scheherazade in Force of Will. The first Sherry, not the second busted Sherry before she got banned. Just to keep that first Sherry was great. She was ruler of winds or something like that. I don't remember her. Anyway, I've just been dude, like this week is like crazy for card games for me. We have Bright Lights, but then new Shadowverse Evolve set like just dropped, and it's like has some of my favorite characters in Shadowverse, and the set is like so good, and I can't wait to build a new deck for every single craft. So I'm going to be upgrading all 6, and then doing deck techs and like gameplay. And then Ascent Houston was really sweet. Like I said, I'm going to be doing my own video. This one has this is the VIP deck box that came with.
Nice.
Deck box.
Yeah.
And great, like so many like awesome like card game stuff right now. 3 of like my favorite games that I'm playing, Flesh and Blood, Grand Archive, and Shadowverse, have like cool stuff happening, and I'm like really stoked for it. And
Perpetual hype.
well, it's also like my favorite month, like October. I love autumn, but it's also my birthday month, and I love Halloween, and so it's just like, yeah, I'm bummed that I'm not able to go to Worlds, but I'm just gonna bury myself in card games like I always do, and just focus on that stuff. So, yeah, like actually after we're done recording this, I'm going to record my Grand Archive video, and then I'm going to open up the other 8 boxes, the other half case of Shadowverse Evolve, so I can get those videos out, so I can build the decks. I will say this. Okay, I can actually loop this back into Flesh and Blood. Opening Shadowverse Evolve boxes and cases made me realize how I might not like how Flesh and Blood does it. And I think it's just like how Western TCGs do it, to be more specific, because Magic does this as well. So like the way it works for Shadowverse is if you buy a sealed case. Now, mind you, a sealed case for Shadowverse is not 4 boxes like Flesh and Blood. A sealed case is 20 boxes. For the first set, I think it's 18 boxes for the second set. Either way, it still works out. If you buy a sealed case, which is about $700, $900 to $1,000, depending on what set it is, where you're getting it from, you will literally get a full playset of every single card in the set, period. You'll probably get more than that, including the legendaries. They're guaranteed. Sometimes you'll have more or less. Like maybe you'll only end up with 3, which is a playset of 1 card, and maybe you'll end up with 6 of another, but you're going to get a full playset no matter what. And then you're also guaranteed certain hits, not certain cards, but like they have these special alt art. They're basically like your Marvel or whatever's. You're guaranteed two of them per case, and then 1 special alternate leader card. Those are the money hits. Those are the cards that are worth like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But you're guaranteed for set 2. You're guaranteed 2 ultra rares and 1 leader. You're not guaranteed, to get the specific one, but like it's great buying a case. So I bought this case for $700 from a store called 50 Cards, which they do a lot of Cardfight Vanguard stuff. And it's awesome spending $700 on this, knowing I will 100% get a full playset of everything, so I can build every single deck that I want, and then I'll also get the cool bonus chase cards. But I literally just spent over $1,000 on Bright Lights, and I guarantee you that I will not get a full playset of the cards, and I might not even get one of certain cards, which is like comparing the 2 games. Like as I open them like back to back, is going to be like, I don't know, like. I guess it's different philosophies and stuff, and the cards are still worth money. Like it's not saying that the the Shadowverse Evolve cards are worth nothing, because they still have cards that are like $30 or whatever. But I'm guaranteed to pull like at least a playset of them. Whereas like I got like 2 Warmongers Diplomacy and like the 20 boxes of Bright Light or Dust Till Dawn. Well, I just bought the single, but it's a bummer like spending that much money and then just having to buy a single. Obviously, the argument is you should only buy singles. But for a game like Shadowverse, you don't have to. You can just buy the boxes and have everything, and then just sell the rest, or help out your community or whatever. So that's my small.
I did not buy Warmonger's Diplomacy as an Azalea player.
What about a UPF player? What about as a UPF player? That card is sweet in UPF.
I just can't look at that. Can't look at that card anymore.
I run
ruined so many games for me.
I have a full playset of foil ones in my Uzuri deck. Whoa.
Yeah.
My Uzuri deck is like full foil though, so. But anyway, like, so yeah, I just wanted to just mention that, like the difference between like games and like pull rates and all that kind of stuff. And I think it might eventually lead to me to just buying less Flesh and Blood like sealed product. Even though I use a lot of it for content, I think as my channel grows, I think box opening content and stuff be less and less. And I think it already is like less and less for me.
It would just be nice if they make sure that the newer sets can do crack shuffle play. It might just be nice to have boxes lying around where you can just do a stream of a couple of boosters and play a game, sort of thing.
Crack shuffle play actually caused me to buy more bright lights than I planned on. So I personally, for me, I bought 4 cases. I bought 4 cases of bright lights, and then two round the table product. One of them that I'm going to be giving away. And I was only going to buy maybe 2 cases just to open and have fun with, and maybe do a little bit of like sealed. But now that they did the crack shuffle play thing, I was like, you know what? I don't even need to open up all these boxes. I can just have like a case specifically for crack shuffle play. Anytime I want to do like a stream or a video or something where I can just be like, yeah, crack shuffle play, sure, grab some stuff, play. So that alone actually caused me to buy like more product than I would have otherwise. So I don't know how they're going to do it for other sets. If it's not like all one class, I have no idea how they're going to make it work. But if they can, I'm down for it. I think it's a great idea. So.
Yeah, definitely.
That's my long-winded Arsenal step. Bill, do you have a Arsenal step? Are you playing Lorcana like as?
No, I'm not.
Buying $400 booster boxes?
No, what am I even up to recently? Mostly just excited for the in-person UPF that we're going to be doing. Like we sort of mentioned previously. It's going to be a lot of fun. Very, very interesting to see the opportunities that are presented to us, I think is how I'll say that. But yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that, because that's going to be very exciting. I guess the other thing is I should start bringing these to things more frequently. I still have just like a full pile of these Good Deeds promos.
Oh yeah,
like a lot of them.
Oh damn, those are worth like money. Like
yeah, they're like $80 each or something. Like it's crazy.
Take those to Worlds and just kind of like give them out to people who are cool. Like, or by cool I mean like nice.
I think that's probably going to be my plan. So yeah, I'll. That's actually a really good idea. I'm going to do that.
That's a good idea.
Some resource, like enameled resource tokens that we can hang out that have the Spike Feeders logo on them.
Yeah, like you don't even have to say. So this is what I did when I did stuff for Channel Fireball. They gave me tickets to give out to people, like prize tickets. And when I would play with someone, if they were like cool or nice or we just had a good time, I'm like, hey, here's some tickets. Like after the game was done, I didn't even say ahead of time. I was just like, hey, go. Here's like 100 tickets or whatever. Or like when we were doing our sealed pool, we were like just kind of like chatting, and I was like, hey, you know what? You guys, everyone around me, here's some tickets. You could just all have some free tickets. So, yeah. Just spreading
not a bad idea.
Spreading good vibes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good deeds, in fact.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean I think that's pretty much it for today. I wanted to mention one more thing as well on the Arsenal step. I've been a massive fan of Eldritch Horror board game for a long time, and I've started reading a lot of H.P. Lovecraft stuff. So it's very dated. I think it was written like 1920s or whatever. So
in more than a few ways, yes.
yeah. So it's quite dated, like in a few ways, but I've actually been really, really enjoying just like getting into it because it's pure my style. It's like pure eldritch, otherworldly forces that you can't comprehend and you can't combat. It's just, you're dead from the off sort of situation. So I just wanted to mention that I'm reading a lot of that at the moment as well. And it's nice to just, because we spend so much time on, on the screens and all this, it's nice to just actually sit and just read something, like read a book. And it's good for concentration rather than scrolling through your phone and all this. Read more books, I think. I think it's very, very, it's had a good effect on me recently to just read more things, like physical books. Yeah.
I once again, I'm old. Just like I don't use Talishar and Tabletop Simulator, I refuse to read books on my phone. So I have like physical copies of like books and stuff. I mostly read manga these days because I'm a giant weeb. There's some good manga. Junji Ito did a version of Frankenstein, and it's and rad as hell. Robin got that for me a little while ago, and I'm reading a new horror manga about Dracula. It's called like DRCL or something like that. It's very like gothic, but in a Victorian way. And yeah, reading is good. Oh, I'm sure no one cares, but my favorite manga series, Frieren, just got an anime adaptation like this past weekend, and it's like apparently really good, and I'm so stoked to eventually watch it. So yeah, there's that too.
Yeah. Nice.
Hell yeah.
That's it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'm actually I'm the host for today. I already forgot about that. So anybody who started listening and then immediately skipped to the end, some stuff happened.
That's right. Some stuff did happen.
But yeah, I guess with that being said, that will wrap us up for this week's episode of the Living Legends podcast. We'll do the final roll call and then we'll see everybody off. I've been Bill from the Spike Feeders. You can find me on social media at BillTSF. Although on Blue Sky specifically, because we were able to do it, I'm bill.thespikefeeders.com, which is kind of sweet. Actually, I'm really happy about that. But anyway, that's where you can find me. You can also find me on YouTube at the Spike Feeders FAB. We do live edited gameplay content, and if that's something that interests you, you should definitely check us out. I also have sort of our main channel, which is just the Spike Feeders, which I am mentioning for no particular reason whatsoever. But you should definitely check it out, even if you're not interested in Magic the Gathering. Wink, hint.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, there we go.
And yeah, once again, alphabetically, I'll kick it over to Az. Where can the people find you?
Yeah, so on socials, Go Again Gaming AZ. I recently did join the Blue Sky as well, just because in the Spike Feeders Discord you were giving out codes. So I was just like, yeah, I might as well just create one and see what happens. And I followed Bill, and you followed me back, and that's all that matters, really. That's all that matters. So yeah, Go Again Gaming AZ on there, and then Go Again Gaming on YouTube as well. That is pretty much it, really. There's probably going to be some vlogs coming very soon with regards to worlds and stuff, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So go check it out when you can.
Yeah.
Last but certainly not least, we also have Kel.
Hello, I am Kel. Yeah, Red Zone Rogue everywhere. I'm not on Blue Sky though, so so Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube is where you can find me most of the time. I'm going to be pumping out quite a bit of videos now that I'm back from Ascent Houston. In fact, there should probably be almost 5 videos a week for the next couple of weeks. I have a lot of videos I have planned. So if you're watching this today on Wednesday, assuming I have no problems and it just uploads fine, tomorrow we're going to have either Shadowverse Evolve or the Grand Archive recap, and then the day after is going to be the other video. Then we're going to have Bright Lights stream on the weekend. We're going to have maybe some Bright Lights discussion next week following more Shadowverse content and a bunch of other stuff. So got a lot of card game stuff going on. Oh, special things for October. I do want to mention I have a special Halloween episode for a dead card game that I think is going to be a lot of fun. And then I'm also trying to orchestrate a Vampire the Eternal Struggle stream with Az and hopefully some friends from New Zealand. We'll see if we can round that out. We tried to do it last year. I'm going to try to do it this year. I want to do Vampire the Eternal Struggle stream. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I bought the deck for it and we just didn't fire, did it? I'm just outraged.
I bought the 5th edition box set. I have 5 decks for it. So yeah, I kind of dusted it off a little while ago and was like, yeah, we should do this. And then last thing I'll mention before we leave is I'll get you a little bit hyped up for the next 2 Living Legends episodes, or the next couple. So Brian Gottlieb will be on the Living Legends podcast in the next couple episodes talking about Bright Lights. We'll likely post some questions soliciting y'all. If you have any burning questions, we'll pick the best ones and possibly ask them to Brian Gottlieb. And then also Sam Yang is going to come on tentatively this month to talk about art and all that kind of stuff with Flesh and Blood. I think his role, I think he's like moved up in the company. Like I think he's more of a, instead of being like a concept artist and a like art, I think he's got like a more of a, I don't know what to call it, directorial type of role now. So I think it'll be really great talking to Sam about that kind of stuff. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for watching.
Definitely. And before we go as well, the Living Legends podcast at gmail.com. If you want to post your thoughts, comments, and questions, let us know. We haven't had time to read anything out this time, but I do want to thank, and probably all of us thank, the patience of people of last week's episode, because we actually recording this on Tuesday again this week. So hopefully it doesn't have the same issue as it did last time, where it uploaded, but only for some. It uploaded the low res version.
What happened is it was stuck at processing. So it uploaded, but it didn't fully process all of the versions, so like HD.
Right.
And what that means is that it doesn't appear on some people's, well, it'll appear on their feed, but it won't actually play for them if you're watching it on certain devices. So like for me personally, it worked on my laptop, but I could not view it on my phone. It would just spin. And so like that just killed all of the viewership and stuff for the video. So I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to re-upload the thing after like doing some research, talking to like DM Armada and stuff. Or just like, best thing to do is I'll just scrap it and then re-upload it. And then I'll just not publish it until it was 100% processed, which did take a while. It took like a full day. So yeah. We'll see. Hey, if the video version, if you're listening to this and it's late, that's why. That's why maybe it took too long to process. I don't think it will this time because it's not over 2 hours long, but
we are just trying to bring you the best possible content.
Absolutely. But yeah, thanks everybody who patience there, and shout out to IP2 Podcast. I know you like them, Bill. They said, "Love you three so much." That email at the end cracked me up multiple times.
I think the person from the email also commented on the video that I had to delete, unfortunately, and also one of my community posts. So shout out to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
no, it was a fantastic email, and shout out to that individual. I can't remember their name. I'm so sorry off the top of my head, but email is phenomenal. And of course, shout out IP2 Podcast as always. They're just a good pair of boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So keep commenting, email us at livinglegendspodcast@gmail.com, and we'll read stuff out in the future. But that's pretty much it, I think. For the last time. This time.
Yeah, absolutely. But that will do it for us for this week once again. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Thank you guys for chatting with me. Great as always. And we'll catch everybody in the next episode.
See you later.
Cheers.